Not one, not two, not three, not four, but Jonah Elliss has 5 immediate family members in the NFL. That bloodline is pretty impressive. We're going to break it down on the DNVR Broncos Podcast, coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge at the DNVR Bar. Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. What's up, Toyota chat? What's up, Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis, Henry Chisholm, you here, and Zac Stevens rocking and rolling with you today. I want to ask you both individually, how tough is it to make it in the NFL?
It's pretty tough. If you look at the numbers, I think it's like the 0.01% of people that start playing high school ball and make it to the NFL. So just based off the numbers, I say it's pretty tough, but also like being in the grind, understanding the grind, and seeing some really good players not make it through training camp is really tough.
Henry, same question.
Really seems tough. I mean, really seems tough. So, like, everybody always says, like, maybe if you're a long snapper, then, like, that's the path. Like, you take your kid when he's 3 years old and you start, as soon as he can fit a football between his legs, you just start snapping. In talking to the Broncos long snapper, Mitchell Fraboni, it sounds way tougher. Because, first of all, like, it's not like you miss like once a season. It's like you don't miss or you lose your job. Like you have to be perfect every single time because there's somebody else who can do it. And that's why it's not even graded on whether you're able to make the snaps or not, because that's just assumed. It's whether you can be productive on special teams. And so you have to go down there and like make tackles and do those sorts of things. So I honestly think even the long snappers, like the easy path to the NFL thing is a myth. I just think it's hard.
I can't believe you took that to the long snapper route. I actually think, not diving too deep into this, but I actually think like being a long snapper might be more difficult because it's like even more difficult to separate yourself.
That is true.
Am I wrong, Todd?
No, it is. And then also you have to be like, if you want your kid to be a long snapper from jump, you have to be okay with telling everybody like, oh, he plays. What's he do? Oh, he's a long snapper.
I think that is true.
Like from 9 until 21 when he makes the NFL, like you have to be okay in that space.
It's busy tonight going to my kids' football games.
Yeah.
Like,
what's he
no
do?
way. what position? Long snapper.
It really only becomes cool once he makes the NFL.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? He has to make the NFL.
Wonder what's up with that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're just always trying to replace you with cheaper. I know that's kind of all of the NFL, but like if you are good enough at other positions, you're going to stay in the NFL. If you're a really good long snapper and you demand $2 million, they're just going to be like, no, we'll go get another really good long snapper for $900,000.
Exactly.
So the reason I ask this is then how difficult is it to have 5 immediate family members all be in the NFL at some point? Because Jonah Ellis' dad played for the Broncos.
Yep.
Jonah Ellis has 1, 2, 3 brothers that are in the NFL right now.
Yep.
And then himself, an immediate family, has 5 family members in it.
I feel like the bloodlines keep proving themselves to be very strong in the NFL. Whether you're a Watt or a Ellis, it seems like the NFL should start doing blood testing and see where the lineage is really go. Maybe like look on the Ancestry.com, find out who's related, because it seems like if there's any like crossover between like grandfathers or fathers or family members, you have a pretty good shot of being pretty good in the NFL.
Wow, it is true.
Hey, Will Jock says 3 dudes looking very swoop today. I love that. Swoop.
Still don't know what that means.
Swoop, let's make it happen. Don't look it up on Urban Dictionary. I tried to help myself out by looking up on Urban Dictionary, and
not good.
The Urban Dictionary meanings are not what I'm referring to. We're gonna have to add
what
a
other
new
meanings
one to
are Urban Dictionary?
Can't say it out loud. That's why.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's they pretty much but anyways, we're gonna make it have a new PG meaning on this show. We're all looking pretty cool today. It is what, like, I'm trying to think of 3. I mean, is this the McCaffrey family? I tried to get away from it, and Todd looked it up.
Because it's really just pushing the two words together. The sweat and the... But we can move on. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then you can like combine that definition you found with other definitions of it on there, and it just keeps getting more down a rabbit hole. If Yahir wants to read it, he's more than welcome to.
I'm not gonna read it.
Good call.
That's
but
hilarious.
Also, like Zac said this on air.
yeah. Well, so I'm pretty sure the origin of this, and I'm pretty sure my dad has said this my whole life. And so that's why, like, my dad, a very innocent, nice man, saying it, like, thinking it was cool. I didn't even think to look into this word.
And if he's saying it's got to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I reached out to him last night and haven't heard back, being like, you were the one that said this my whole life, right?
Wow.
So
your whole life? Okay.
Yeah,
so it wasn't like a one-off.
No, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it was pretty often. I'll keep you updated.
Well, there
when I
is
hear
another definition. There's like 4 or 5 of them, and one of them is the act of having finesse in everything you do.
There
It
we
can
go.
be used as
We
an
like
adjective,
that
verb,
one.
or noun. And one of the examples is, bro, your outfit has so much swoop today.
Hey, there we go. Okay, that kind of fits.
You got to find like the fourth,
Yeah.
fourth definition
There's
down.
literally like 7 pages of swoop on Urban Dictionary, and I looked
Yes.
through all of them, being like, "Can I at least get a bone thrown?" And I missed that one, so thanks for pulling that one up.
I got
for me.
you.
The other one just involves a lot of gross things.
Oh man.
Yeah, bodily fluids, and then you throw some sexual stuff on top of the bodily fluids, and yeah, it's
Swooping.
it's interesting. It reminds me of truffle butter, which I did not know what that was.
What do we get back to this one? Don't we have a podcast to do?
I thought it just meant, you know how there's like truffle.
You just thought about the song.
Truffle and food. Yeah, I thought it just meant like mushroom butter until a couple of years ago, and I found out that true meaning. Okay, so. Is the Ellis family the McCaffrey family? Because
I don't know.
because you have Ed,
Yep.
you have Christian, you now have Luke. He
Yep.
was the receiver. There's 2 more brothers, right? There's Max.
Christian.
Max briefly
Luke.
played in the NFL.
That might be it. Might just be Max, Christian, and Luke. I thought there was a 4th, but maybe
I
not.
thought there was a 5th because that's 4. Max, Christian, Luke, Ed.
Oh, of course, Ed. Yes.
I thought there was one
That
more.
might
maybe.
be it.
Who did Max wind up being Northern Colorado's offensive coordinator? I thought that was him.
Yeah.
If that was him, then I think there might just be 3.
Okay.
It's Luke, Ed, Dylan, Max.
Dylan.
Damn it, I'm an idiot.
And-
Michigan, yep.
And Lisa McCaffrey.
And
Their mom
Lisa,
was a
yep.
athlete at Stanford,
Oh no,
too.
she's an unbelievable athlete, just not an
Not-
NFL player.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, that would be the bloodline that you would want. Wait, so did Dylan play, or was Dylan the
Dylan was
offensive?
at Michigan. Yeah.
Did
Max,
he play in the NFL?
I don't think he ever went to the NFL, no. He actually might still be playing college, given
So
how
like
things work.
the most athletic family, because obviously like there's brothers that are incredible, like TJ, you mentioned it, TJ and JJ. The talent level might be better between those two, but like this is better than the McCaffrey family, the Ellis family right here. If they really have 4 brothers and then their dad played in the NFL, that's insane.
Need some
Yeah.
Pro Bowls. You gotta get some like rings, some
But
Pro Bowls.
just
try to
the
compete.
ability to do that,
Yeah.
I feel like is amazing. Because if
Yeah.
you look at any great family, the most I see is 3. Like
Yeah.
whether NFL or all athletes, whether it's John Bone Jones and his family. We talk about the Watts. We had 3 that played in the NFL. Like I don't know anybody that went over 3. Curry is just 2. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
who?
Fuller?
Kyle Fuller, Kendall Fuller.
Oh yeah, 2.
Yes.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
but nobody has 4. Like 4 is
Nope.
crazy.
No.
Mannings only have 3.
Had
If you count Archie.
Yeah, if you call
count
Archie, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
We know him.
just the odds of that is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To have all 4
There were
brothers.
2 other Fullers.
Because even the McCaffreys, like amazing family, but
Yeah.
really like it's really 2 of them
Right.
Yeah.
out of the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Unless
to
Luke
have
proves
all
himself,
4,
yeah.
all 4 brothers like hit is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And Jonah could be the biggest hit of this family. I think he's the
Possible.
highest drafted of this family.
I would
right
imagine.
now. I actually haven't done that research. Oh wow, Todd, Terrell, and Vernon.
Wow.
Not the same, but I wish. You know what I'm
Shout
saying?
out to Davis's.
That came in from Drake on the Toyota chat. Yeah, and then you have like, some distant relatives like Steve Atwater. Who's his nephew? Why can't I think of the safety?
Oh, the safety
from
that
the Panthers?
Jeremy
headlights.
Chin,
Yeah, Jeremy Chin. So like, and then like obviously with Arch, there's going to be Archie. No,
Yep.
wait, Archie. There's going to be his grandson.
Yep.
Is Arch, but like, and it's still like family, but for it to be this close is wild. And
Yep.
I haven't done the research, but I just imagine that Jonas is the highest drafted being on
Luther
the third
was a
round.
first-round pick.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
no, he
never
was a
mind.
real monster.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
And that's his dad.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess I'm thinking the three brothers
Of the next generation, I would imagine.
Just wild, and it shows that the talent is clearly there
Yep.
in the bloodlines. And with the Broncos, he was their second pick in this draft. Now, he was the third-round pick because the Broncos didn't have a second-round pick because they traded that for Sean Payton in that draft. So I think expectations might be just held a little bit higher for Jonas. It's probably not fair because he was a 76 pick regardless of if the Broncos had a second-round pick or not, but he's their second pick. That's like kind of like we look at Nick Bonito. And it's like, well, he was the Broncos' first pick in that draft. Now, he wasn't until like the very last pick in the second round is when they drafted him, but I think we just hold him just to a little higher standard than a normal second round pick, and I think that's what's going to happen with Jonah. But he clearly has the athletic ability, not just in the blood, but he has the athletic ability. You said he's one of two players to have double-digit sacks.
One of two Power 5 players last year, with 12 sacks or more.
In in a 4-game span. He had 8 sacks. He did not play the entire season last year because of an injury, and he was still able to get 12 sacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
played 10 games.
So he has the physical tools on the field in his blood to be a great player. Like, how good is Jonah Elliss?
I think he's pretty good. I think he has some tools that he can really hone in on to be able to be his best. But I think he is a really good prospect, and I think overall, I think he's a steal in the third round. I think he's definitely at least a second round player. And second round players still should do very well in the NFL. Being undrafted, I think I hold all drafted guys to a high level. And I've seen a lot of great second round draft picks, like Wolf. I think is a great example of somebody who came in and was a monster from day one, had a great career, second contract, third contract, that's what you want from a second round player, like a staple in your locker room for a long time. And so, in my mind, I think that's like the makeup of all second round players. They should come in and have the level of success he did. Not saying it's always going to happen, but I think Jonah Elliss can come in and have a big impact on his team if he's able to really play well in the run game. First, second down, and really turn it on third down. Why not? He's young, he's healthy, he's quick, can get to the quarterback. That's not easy to do, so for sure.
Yep. I think he might already be the Broncos' most polished edge rusher.
Wow.
He's the spin move is the big one. That's where everything starts, and he just cooks people. But then he's super well rounded. He's got a bunch of different moves. And that is the appeal. And obviously, that's why he's so productive. That's why he was a consensus All-American. Like you said, a lot of the sacks came in a few games, which is always a little bit concerning. I think... So he didn't get a sack in the Baylor game, didn't in the Oregon game, didn't in the Washington game. And I just went back and watched the Washington game. I finished that one yesterday. And you can really see the difference because... You look at the UCLA game where he has 3.5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. I mean, that spin move, he's just going right by guys. He can beat him with speed. He can rip his way back inside. He can do whatever he wants to those tackles. Washington, meanwhile, has Troy Fautanu at left tackle, who was a first-round pick for the Steelers. I think Rosengarten went in the second round, if I remember right, at right tackle. And when Ellis was going up against those guys, it didn't go quite so well. I think... For example, those guys are big, they're wide, and so when Jonah tried the spin move, he wasn't able to just spin all the way around him because they're just so wide with such long arms that they can just kind of bottle all that up. So I think with him only being 6'2", on the smaller side, the concern is just what happens against NFL talent because in the few glimpses we saw against real NFL players last year, he wasn't as good. But whenever he played a bad tackle, he would tear him apart however he wanted, and there are plenty of bad tackles in the NFL.
Without a doubt. And so I want to ask you guys a few specific questions because I love the upside with him, but I do have a couple of questions, and I want to see if you can ease my concerns or if they're legitimate concerns to have, but I got to give a shout out to our friends over at Shady Rays. They are back, and they're giving you 35% off polarized sunglasses by using the code DNVR. You guys know Shady Rays. We love them. And also the people love them. Over 300,000 five-star reviews. And you can get 35% off by using that code DNVR. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product. And the awesome thing about Shady Rays is some sunglasses could be so expensive. Shady Rays are affordable to start. And then you get 35% off by using that code DNVR. We all have a pair of Shady Rays, and we love them. And in fact, you can get so many different styles and colors. So if you want blue and orange sunglasses to rep your Broncos, or you want to rep the Nuggets or Avs, they probably have those colors over at ShadyRays.com. Check them out exclusively for our listeners. Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the season. Head to ShadyRays.com and use code DNVR for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try it for yourself, where over 300,000 people have given them 5-star reviews.
Yeah, so Bet365, first of all, the coolest people. I had a kind of wild betting day yesterday in that...
In a good way?
Well, yeah, I think. But so I wound up sitting downstairs and just like I said, I was getting done with that Washington game that Jonah played, and the Rockies were on because they started at 4:40. And at that point, the Rockies were like, 7-22, I think. They're playing the Marlins, who are 6-24 or something like that. So it's like a wild game. And I was like, you know what? Maybe today's the day. If I'm going to be sitting here anyway, I just bet on the Rockies. Decided not to do it because it's the Rockies. They scored 5 runs in the top of the first inning. Nobody scored until the bottom of the 9th, when the Marlins scored 5 runs of their own. And I had been thinking, like, do I bet on the Rockies to blow this? Because I've seen this before. Marlins score 5 in the bottom of the 9th and then win in extra innings. And it was just another heartbreaking defeat. But then the Avs went down a goal, so I snagged them at plus 150 over at Bet365. They came back and won. And so I made a bunch of money over there, and you guys can too if you sign up for Bet365. We've been mentioning this giveaway. It's 6 weeks. The more you participate, the more prizes you're entered to win. The first step, you sign up, get a screenshot of your active Bet365 account with a minimum $10 deposit, and you send that screenshot to promo@thednvr.com. You can head to thednvr.com/bet365 for more information on that. If you use that code DNVR365 when you sign up, you get $10. And you deposit those $10, you can take a bet and get offer. You place about $5 or more, you get $150 in bonus bets instantly, or a first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $2,000. If a qualifying bet loses, you get a matched refund in bonus bets. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, so a couple of questions to ask you guys. The first is, sometimes there's players in the draft that are one-hit wonders, where they have one incredible year, they jump onto the scene, and that's held against them or questioned. And sometimes those players turn out to be great. Sometimes those players turn out to be busts. Just like you can have 3 great years in college and be a bust or be great. But that's kind of a, not a red flag, but kind of a yellow flag that people put on guys that just have one burst out season. And that's statistically what Jonah Elliss did. We talked about the 12-sack season that he had this past year. Well, the 2 seasons before, in 2021, he had 1 sack and played in 9 games. In 2022, he played in 11 games and only had 3 sacks. So he wouldn't have been a second round or a third round pick if he did that again in 2023. But he did have that huge season of 12 sacks. But then you kind of take it one step further, and 8 of those sacks came in 4 games. So how much of a concern is it that not just a one-year wonder, but maybe like a 4-game splash type of player? Is that a concern, or does that show his upside?
No, I think that shows upside, and then he's getting better over time. I'd rather see an uptick than a lull. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We've had a couple guys, even in this draft class, that had phenomenal freshman seasons, but they never really got back to those numbers. This at least is telling me that over time he's getting better. And, 4 games, 8 sacks, I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, sometimes you just ball out, and sometimes it just works, and everything that you put into preparation just comes together. It doesn't mean that you weren't talented those other games. Because even though he wasn't getting, necessarily sacks in those other games, I still feel like he was effective. I feel like there was times where the quarterback, if they held the ball for one more second, he could have got there. Now, if he's just looking like a slouch and getting thrown around all game in the other games, you're like, maybe something's not right. But I don't feel like that was the case with him.
Yep. I mean, 8 sacks in 4 games. That leaves 4 sacks in the other 6 games, which isn't that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and then in an NFL season, that's on pace for more than 11 sacks. The big thing to me is that he just turned 21 last month. And so in his age 20 season, he had 12 sacks and was a consensus All-American. In his age 19 season, only 3 sacks. You would love more, but honorable mention, all Pac-12 as a 19-year-old, not bad. Didn't really play as an 18-year-old. It is what it is. So he's trending up, and he's still so young that I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, and I'm going to take that approach as well. I'm going to be optimistic about it because it kind of reminds me 8 sacks in 4 games reminds me of something Von Miller always used to say, sacks come in bunches. And we saw that from Von throughout his career. He would go a couple of games without a single sack, and then he would go a couple of games where he would rack up half his sacks during the season. And so clearly, if one of the best pass rushers of all time says that, and Jonah Elliss does that, I'm not going to hold that against him. I think there's definitely something to that. And the second thing is, there's a reason why he fell to the 3rd round. Maybe just not. He didn't have 3 years of elite production, and so the Broncos are getting a guy that I think has maybe borderline elite skills, specifically just pass rushing, maybe not all around outside linebacker, but that's a premium position. That's a premium skill, and you get borderline elite skills. Well, there's going to be a downside to the person or some question marks as to why they fell to the 3rd. So I kind of love it. The Broncos are in a situation where they don't need him to start this year because they have Jonathan Cooper, Nick Bonito, and Baron Browning there. But I like that they took a shot at a high upside guy who maybe has a little bit lower floor than some other guys. But in the 3rd round to get that, I love it. So my other question, though, for you guys, and Todd, maybe you specifically, at least I'll start with you on this one, is he's a little undersized. 6'2", he weighed in at 248 at the combine, which that's not too undersized, but it's not ideal size for an outside linebacker, specifically that 6'2". At Utah, he was playing at like 230 pounds. Is that, how big of a deal is being undersized at outside linebacker?
It all depends on how you play, how you attack blocks, how you use your leverage. I've seen guys be 275 and get thrown out of the club, and I've seen guys be 240 and set the edge. I think it's all about how he places his hands, how he uses his leverage, like I said. So I don't think it'll be an issue for him. I think he's going up against a lot of, good-sized tackles in college. So I think he has understanding of how to use his leverage being a smaller guy. And then hopefully that just makes him a little bit quicker, getting off the ball and really be able to have an effective pass rush. So I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah, I'm not too worried. I think, like I said, like those bigger, longer tackles tied him up a little bit too often. But in the run game, there is still a lot to like. Like he'll slip off of some blocks, especially like they'll play him inside a little bit, and he's too quick for some of those guards. A lot of the time, it felt like teams just ran the other way. And maybe it's a small sample size, having only watched a few of the games, but felt like they're always going the other way. And he was coming in like on the backside, allowing no cutbacks. Like there's a lot of those technique type of things you like. And I think obviously production as a pass rusher you have to like. But yeah, I mean, he's just going to need to find a way around some of those other complaints. And worst case scenario, you've got a guy who you like as a pass rusher who isn't great as a run defender, so you play him in your nickel defense and you make it work, So it'd be nice if he was well-rounded, but how often does an outside linebacker play more than like 65, 70% of the snaps anyway? Like you can just fit him in when you want to fit him in, if worst comes to worst.
So this is on Vance to put him, not just all on Vance, but this is a challenge for Vance. Now he has 4, maybe even 5 if you include Drew Sanders, outside linebackers that he needs to cater to the strengths of, while also, and the tough thing for Vance is going to be, while also not tipping your hand in exactly what you're trying to do here, because there are some strengths with some of these guys, there's some weaknesses, and it's about finding the best combo here. So then, looking at this conversation, we're going to do this with every single one of the Broncos draft picks. We're going to do it with Bo Nix tomorrow, but we're going to start with Jonah Elliss today. What are your goals for Jonah Elliss as a rookie this season, being the second Broncos draft pick this year?
That's a tough one because, like, again, starter, not starter is tough just because they rotate so many guys. It's so situational. Like, if they start nickel, there's a good chance he's a starter. If they don't, he's probably not. So I would say, like, 6 sacks.
That's my exact
Yeah, I know.
number,
It
yeah.
almost feels too high for a rookie given how many
it does.
guys are there, but like that's what you brought him here to do. And he's only 21. He's not going to be 22 until next April, but I think that that's a good goal because I think if he gets 5, we're not leaving the season saying, "Oh, the Broncos got a guy there." I think you got to get 6 for us to be saying like, "Okay, you can move forward with Jonah Elliss." And that obviously you still need growth from that point as well.
Man, you know who the leading, the person with the most sacks on the Broncos was last year?
Cooper. 8.5.
8.5.
Benito had 8.
Then Benito at 8,
Yep.
Zach Allen at 5, Baron Browning
yep.
at 4.5. So you're asking him to be almost as good as the best Broncos pass rusher
Well,
last year.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that, like, again, he is probably the most polished. Like, Baron Browning is kind of the other competition there, just in terms of, like, having your moves, having a wide arsenal of moves, and knowing how to use them. But yeah, Baron Browning was hurt, so otherwise he probably would have been higher. Zach Allen, interior guy, but he's like a 5 sack per year type of guy. So yeah, I think a good goal is 6, because if he has 6, then we're happy with him and what he brings moving forward.
In 2022, you know who the leading outside linebacker was in sacks for the Broncos? The leading sacker for the Broncos was Draymond Jones, and obviously a different position.
Wow.
He had 6.5 sacks.
Jeez. I mean, it wasn't Benito. It must have been Cooper, Browning. I guess you still had Chubb.
You did
it
have
was
Chubb.
Chubb, yeah.
It was Chubb. He only played
Yep.
in 8 games because
That's
of
right.
injury. He got 5.5 sacks, so obviously
Yep.
it would have been a lot more if he played him more. But then Baron Browning played in 14 games, only had 5 sacks. I think if he gets 6, I will be over the moon with 6. Todd, what's your goal?
You know, I think I was getting close to that 6 number as well because we're bringing him in here. That's not my final step, but we're bringing him in here to provide something that we haven't had. So we're looking at numbers from the past 2 years, and we've all kind of been not upset, but haven't loved the production that we've had out of that outside linebacker room. So we want to have somebody with maybe like 15 sacks, then somebody with like 8 sacks, and then somebody with 6 sacks. Like, that's a very productive room. So I think we're just missing like the huge, numbers guy. And so I think with 6 sacks in his rookie year, he can potentially make his way to be that guy for us because we still need him in that room. For me, I feel like, by the end of the season, I would like him to see him be a starter on first and second down. I think primarily when he comes in, he can play the run, but I think he'll be more of like their third down change-up guy just as a rookie coming in, learning the game, and getting better. They have guys that can do really well in stopping the run, first, second down. I would like to see him kind of make the transition sometime throughout the season to kind of be the starter later in the year and really being able to hold down the fort in first, second down, and then also rushing on third down.
I still hope you guys are right, because if this happens, then I think the Broncos have a definite starter going into 2025. And then you just hope that one of the other 3 guys kind of solidifies himself as a starter, and you feel great. For me, I've just probably been beat down too much over these last few years, because I just went back, and in 2021, the guy with the most sacks on the Broncos was Malik Reed. He had 5.
Yeah.
He had 5.
Yep.
So, like, you got to go back to, like, 2018 when Bradley Chubb and Von Miller each had double-digit sacks to find the last guy that had double-digit sacks for the Broncos. So maybe I've just been beat down too much.
Yeah.
But all I want to see, my goal for a rookie third-round pass rusher, especially coming into a room that it's up for grabs, but there's also other talent there, I want to see flashes. We saw no flashes from Nick Benito as a rookie. Now,
It's
we
true.
did see flashes, a lot of flashes from Benito last year, but I think if last year would have been Benito's rookie season and he had that, we'd be feeling great about him. I think we're feeling good about him now.
Yep.
But if he has that sort of season, like Benito had last year, where there's flashes, and it doesn't have to be the 8 sacks that Benito got close to last year, but if we see flashes, kind of like he did at Utah, not 8 sacks in 4 games, but if he has 2 games where he has 2 sacks, there's the flashes there. If he has 4 games where he has a sack in each of them, flashes. I hope you guys are right, though. Man, Broncos will be getting a player if that's the case, and we'll all be celebrating with some Coors Lights if that's the case. Man, I was talking to some buddies this morning about getting out to a Rockies game, not to watch the awful Rockies, but to hang out on the rooftop and the party deck and some Coors Lights. I think they even have deals on Coors Lights at Rockies games, and Coors Light is the beer for summer because it's all about chilling, whether it's on a patio, whether it's with friends, whether it's literally just to chill and cool down. Coors Light's all about chilling because it's brewed cold, it is bottled cold, and of course they take it to another level with the blue mountains on their cans and bottles to tell you when the beer is chilled just perfectly. And Coors Light is all about chilling. It's the beer that we reach for when we want to chill. So when you want to hit the reset, grab the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
And if you're hungry, you need to race to Raising Cane's and get yourself some chicken fingers. They're phenomenals. Whether you want to make it a sandwich, whether you want to have it by himself with some amazing cane sauce and some fries. I had some the other night, and I think that put me in a great place to have a good night's rest. I slept good. I felt good. And Raising Cane's will always get you well taken care of. For cook-to-order, hand-battered chicken fingers, race to Raising Cane's, turbocharge your chicken fingers, and get them even faster by ordering online at raisingcanes.com or through their mobile app. Raising Cane's, chicken fingers, one love.
Man, love Raising Cane's. Love the Toyota chat. It's popping off right now. And if you're in the Toyota chat, hit us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. It helps us a ton. And then also, if you're listening to the podcast side or you watch us on YouTube and you want to help us out on the podcast side, make sure you're following and subscribe to the DNVR Broncos podcast on podcast. Just type in podcast or just type in Broncos on podcast. We're the first one that pops up. And then turn on automatic downloads. Apple and Spotify have changed it this year where automatic downloads are now off.
Yep.
That's been the norm for so long, so it's actually really hurt us. If you guys could turn on automatic downloads, it helps us a ton. Have you guys heard about this BJ West receiver that the Broncos may or may not have signed? It's not completely official yet. What do you know about him, Henry?
I know he's 5'8", and I think 100.
Wait. He's 5'8". He's a receiver. How big do you think a small receiver is?
Whoa. I don't know about that. But how much does he weigh?
How much does he weigh?
There we go.
5'8", maybe like 180 pounds.
180 pounds. Would that be, how small is that?
On the football field?
Yeah, for NFL.
Yeah, that's a smaller guy. Small guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about 142?
That's a that's a very
well, then on top of that, how many catches do you think he would have? Just remember, Alabama State, the guy's this small, he's getting an opportunity in the NFL. How many catches do you think it takes? In a 6-year career?
Yeah, 6
In a
years at
6-year
Alabama
career.
State.
Oh, he had to be the man there. So I don't know, maybe like 40 catches a year.
2 catches total.
The whole time?
Yeah.
You know how many receiving yards he has in his career? 2 catches. Got to be like 200 yards, right?
12 yards.
-5.
Both went backwards.
So what?
Exactly. Nobody knows.
He must be a hell of a returner.
Yeah, but even then, like I think he returned like 4 or 5 punts, 4 or 5 kicks. Like average 30 yards per kick return is not bad, but like
That's good.
it's good. But like 5 kick returns at West Alabama and a guy Alabama State didn't do anything else. 142 pounds. It's crazy. My conspiracy theory.
Who does he have pictures of?
Exactly.
Some
My
black man.
conspiracy
Speed
theory
kills.
is that Sean Payton hates Alabama State's coach. Like, I don't know who it is. I don't know where they would have crossed paths, but for some reason, Sean hates that coach and wants to say, you know what? You couldn't get literally anything from this guy at Alabama State.
Wow.
Look what I'm going to do with him in the NFL.
Wow.
I feel like for those small schools, probably like the most applicable film you could watch is probably Special Teams.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the best thing that translates from like Alabama State to Alabama is probably like their returner because it's all vision and setting up blocks more than it is actually going up against 300-pounders or, you know what I'm saying, dominant linebackers.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'll have to see some tape.
There isn't much
Or
out
maybe
there.
he did it in
I was
practice.
gonna say-
Maybe he did it in practice.
Yes.
Exactly, the best practice player that Alabama State has ever seen.
Alabama State's coach, Eddie Robinson Jr., has beef with Deion Sanders.
Of course.
What's
Who
the beef?
doesn't?
What's the beef? Read it to us.
HBCU. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm not going that deep into it, but there's a little back and forth there back in the day. Sean and Deion are cool. Little conspiracy that might work out for Hank's conspiracy.
We don't
there.
have time to be that petty. Like we got games. We got games to win. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you're spending salary cap money on these guys, better be more than just like beef with a friend of a coach who's now a college coach and you're
Yeah.
an NFL coach.
You got to turn him into something.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't get anything out of him at Alabama State. Look what I can do at the Denver Broncos.
I just gotta say, 142 seems pretty big in my book.
There we go.
But he's gonna get destroyed on an
Wait, how
NFL
much do
field.
you weigh if
I'm up
142?
to 130. 5'8",
Dang.
130. I mean, he's essentially me on a
He
football
is,
field.
yeah.
Then
That-
we finally get the answer to how many Zacks.
That
Well,
is-
there's only one of them. But
It's
yeah.
true. We got our guy Brian Baldinger joining us right now. Baldy, how was the draft for you?
It was fun. It's always fun. It was, a lot of analysis, a lot of anticipation of where some players are going to go, and you're kind of just evaluating it right now like everybody else. So I had a good time. I was kind of dialed in, for all 257 picks. So I didn't go very far away from the screen and what was going on.
And that's why you're the best. You know all 257 picks. And let's start with the 12th pick in the draft. The Broncos getting Bo Nix. Baldy, did the Broncos reach with this pick here, or do you think it was right to just take Sean's guy at 12 and pick up Bo?
You don't know, honestly. 137 more picks went before the next quarterback was taken. So you don't know if anybody would have taken a quarterback or taken Bo Nix. Maybe the Raiders would have taken him at 13. I don't know what intel they had at that time. I know Sean Payton has talked about being usurped by the Kansas City Chiefs in 2017 and taking Patrick Mahomes right in front of him while Drew Brees was in the war room waiting for his replacement to be called. So I just didn't think they wanted that to happen, anything like that again. And so I felt like they probably didn't want to spend their 12th pick on Bo Nix, but they didn't really want to wait and see if he would be around second round, late first round, whatever. So they weren't willing to take that gamble.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, especially given the craziness that happened before that with Michael Penix Jr. going to the Falcons. Have you found a way to just justify that pick to yourself, or are you still just as shocked as everybody else was when the Falcons, after giving all that money to Kirk Cousins, decided to bring in Michael Penix?
I thought they were going to draft him. He was my second favorite quarterback. I wasn't shocked. They might, I don't know if they have buyer's remorse about Kirk Cousins, but when they went to work him out and they sat with him and watched him throw and got to meet him, they were blown away. And I thought maybe they would try to trade down and still get him, but I don't think they were willing to see what the Broncos or the Raiders were going to do. Look, on the surface, it doesn't make any sense, but I just know Arthur Blank pretty well. I worked for the Falcons for a long time and did all their preseason games. And they had great success when Mike Vick was the quarterback for a while. And when Matt Ryan came in 2008 with Mike Smith, they were the team to beat in the AFC South. And they just didn't want to go through the stretch that they've gone through the last 5 years trying to figure out what their quarterback situation was going to be. And I think Kirk's in good shape. They brought him there to win the division. So it's up to Kirk right now, no matter what pressure he feels, to go help this team win the division. And then I think they'll go from there. But Michael Penix was a good pick. He's a great player. He's elevated 2 programs in college at Indiana and at Washington, and I think he's going to do the same thing with the Falcons.
Speaking of quarterbacks rooms, let's talk about the Broncos a little bit. With the way that the quarterback room is set up now, do you think Bo Nix has to be the starter day one? And from what you saw in college, do you feel like he's ready to be the starter week 1?
Well, what does Jarrett Stidham start? Has he started 4 games in this career right
I think
now?
it's 4.
Yeah, about that.
The similar journeys. Stidham went Baylor to Auburn. Nix went, Auburn to Oregon, played a lot in college. I think playing 61 games in college kind of gets you ready. It's not the NFL. Don't get me wrong. It's not the NFL. But I think it's going to be a competition. And, I think they'll they'll construct a competition where it's going to be fair. Guys are going to get a chance to play with the number one offensive line, with the number one offense, and I think it's going to be open, and they're going to evaluate it throughout the preseason. May the best man win right now. I mean, if Bo Nix doesn't win the job, it doesn't mean that he's not a success at all. I mean, I think all these quarterbacks, every one of them, including Caleb, would benefit by sitting, at least for a while, and just kind of gradually ease into it. There's about a 26% success rate for quarterbacks taken in the first round. It's a low percentage. The longer they can sit, I think the better it behooves them.
Do you think Bo Nix is a good fit, a great fit for Sean Payton's offense? And what do you think his ceiling is in the NFL?
I don't know. I don't know what his ceiling is. I think it's a good fit. I think he gets the ball out quick. I think he, is running offense where there's a lot of short passes. I mean, Sean ran a lot of those, a lot of screens, a lot of variety of screens. To the two-man side, to the backs. I think he has a way to move the ball. You got to be highly accurate in order to kind of function in the offense. And he was the most accurate quarterback in college football. And you can say, well, there are a lot of bubble screens there, and there was. They got to filter through a lot of that stuff. But he threw the ball down the field to Troy Franklin. So I think he's a good fit, just simply because I think he's a student of the game. He's played a lot of football. I think he's willing to be coached real hard the way Sean likes to coach him. And whatever criticism might come along with that, I think he's willing to, to handle all of that right now. So I think he's a good fit.
The Broncos also made a trade on draft day, getting John Franklin Myers from the Jets. It seems like maybe he dropped off a little bit this past year after having a great season. I think 2021-22 or something like that was the top statistical season. I'm just curious, where does he fit in with the Broncos, and just how big of an impact can somebody like that have for a defense?
Well, I was shocked. I was shocked at Jets. I mean, I think it was just just trying to balance the books, and it was just a financial thing. But he's a good player. I mean, he started off with the Rams, and the Rams know what a good defensive lineman looks like. John Franklin Myers can play inside. He can play outside. He can play third downs. He's a good football player. And so they got him for, the contract's the contract. I think they're paying him a little bit of money. But, compensation-wise, what was it, a 6th-round pick?
Yep.
Something like that. Like, I was shocked because he was a starting defensive tackle for him next to Quinnen Williams. And he played a variety of roles in that defense. But they're getting a good football player. It was a good trade, really good trade.
Baldy, when we look at this draft, I feel like there was a lot of players that were there, and the Broncos didn't expect them to be there, and so they picked them. And hopefully they got a good value out of it. When you look at our draft, who do you feel like was the best value pick for the Denver Broncos?
Troy Franklin's a good player. You get him in the 4th round, a day 3, wide receiver. There was people that could easily say, and good evaluators that say he could have easily gone to the top of the 2nd round. Now, I don't, wherever you go. But I think Troy Franklin's a good football player. Has been up at Oregon ever since Bo Nix got there. Those two teamed up, and they were a good tandem in the Pac-12 the last 2 seasons. I think that was a really good pick. Estime, look, he ran a slow 40 time, and that probably knocked him down. Now, is he a 4.7 guy? He looks faster than that. Jerome Bettis was a 4.7 guy. He's in a Hall of Fame. So, running backs, like the time, it's really how quick your feet are, and how good your vision is. Aaron Jones was a 5th-round pick at UTEP. I've never seen a guy miss a hole. The guy hits every hole that's there, wherever it is. Like, some guys just have laser focus when it comes to finding the daylight. And maybe Estime can be like that.
Baldy, I agree with you about Troy Franklin being an incredible value pick. In fact, I thought they were going to take him in the 3rd round. Instead, they went with Jonah Elliss, pass rusher out of Utah. What does he bring to the Broncos, and how do you feel about that pick?
I like the pick. He's not an elite athlete. He doesn't wow you with suddenness or length, or he's under 250 pounds, but man, the guy plays hard. It's the way he was raised. His brother, same thing. His brother starts in Atlanta. Nobody said that he could play in this NFL. He's a starting linebacker for the Falcons on a team at one point was a top 10 defense in this league last year. I think he can play. Look, they've got a bunch of guys there. Benito. You look at all the guys that are on the edge right now. Cooper. They've got probably 4 guys that they can rotate off the edge. And the fact is, in this business now, if you really study teams' rosters, the good ones are all trying to get 8 deep on the defensive line. So you get you get Jonah Elliss and you get John Franklin Myers in this draft. Like, you just found 2 guys, whether they start or rotate, to get to an 8-man rotation. That's what the 49ers have invested in. That's what the Philadelphia Eagles invest in. That's what the Jets have invested in. These teams now are looking to dress 8 defensive linemen. In some cases, they're dressing 9. It's a long season. You got to keep pressure on the quarterback. You got to get to the quarterback. You got to keep them fresh. You got to keep them healthy. So I feel like Jonah's going to be in that rotation, and John Franklin Myers is going to be in that defense line rotation of the Broncos this year.
Last year, the run defense of the Broncos might have been its biggest weakness. There were a bunch of them, so it's kind of tough to say for sure. With DJ Jones and John Franklin Myers and Zach Allen, like you mentioned, you want all these guys. You throw in, like, you have Baron Browning on the edge. You have Jonathan Cooper. You have Ellis. Do you feel like they've gotten to the point where they should feel good about what they have up front, or is there still some work to do there?
Well, I feel like, everything defensively was screwed by that Miami game. Like, even 14 weeks later, I felt like all the stats that go against the Broncos defense, they took the ball away at a good number for a good stretch when they're winning games in the middle of the season. I feel like this is Zach Allen's a good football player. He can play for any defense in this league. So I think, you start stacking these guys inside right now, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be better against the run. That's what the Chargers are going to want to do. They're going to try to jam it down your throat. The Chiefs will do it in the fourth quarter if they have a lead. It's not what they come out of the tunnel doing. So this division is changing right in front of us. Yes, the Chiefs are out there, but the way teams are being built, the way they're going to attack, what they're going to do defensively, it's all changing right now. And the Chargers are going to have a whole different way of doing things. Like, they will compete this year at a very high level, but they'll do it differently than any of us have seen in the last decade.
We talked a lot about all these guys coming in. I think it's important to talk about Bo Nix and Troy Franklin, their connection, but also Alex Forsyth, which was Bo Nix' center in college, could potentially be his center starting in the NFL. Can you just talk about, like, the continuity he should have with Forsyth and Franklin, and how much that should put Bo Nix at ease within his first year in the NFL?
It always helps. It always helps. I mean, centers and quarterbacks are united. They spend a lot of time together, like I'm sure Bo did, but you spend a lot of time together in the film room, studying blitzes, studying fronts, identifying the mic, all these different things that you hear on TV on Sundays. I'm in Philadelphia, Jason Kelce. I don't think Jalen Hurts would be the quarterback he is right now without Jason Kelce. I mean, these guys they're the coach on the field for your quarterback, and they help them out a great deal. It can only benefit Bo at this point.
Baldy, you only benefit us. We appreciate you joining us today. Before we get you out of here, you've been grinding on tape for months now. You gonna dive into some water with sharks coming up? Take some time off?
Yeah, well, I was supposed to, except I tore my tricep tendon, so I'm going to go and get some surgery. They told me I'm going to be in this cast from my shoulder to my hand for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
It's just going to be hard to dive. Like, if the hammerhead is chasing me, I just got no way to get away. one arm, diver is not very swift. So I got to sit back and bite the bullet here, as they say.
Oh, man. Well, we're wishing you the best of luck, speedy recovery, and we can't wait to catch up with you soon.
Let's do it, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it now.
Thanks, Baldy. The great Brian Baldinger. Man, could you imagine just like using like a 4-foot cast in the water against a shark?
No.
It's like a weapon if it tries to attack you.
No.
I could not.
Yeah, because as soon as they bite the cast,
oh, God.
if the shoulder already has had surgery,
No. At least it's that one they bit. Better the one that's already broken.
Oh, my goodness.
Also, every time somebody brings up Jerome Bettis when they're talking about Audric Estime, I can't control my excitement. Like, it's obviously not the same because Bettis was like 20 pounds heavier coming out of Notre Dame. But you look and you're just like, I'm not willing to say that myself, but whenever anybody else brings up Jerome Bettis, Audric Estime, I love it.
So he is the next Jerome Bettis.
I'm letting others say it. I'm just saying he's going to be a great Audric Estime, and that's that.
Todd, Derrick Henry has to be the biggest running back you played against, right?
Yep, I think so.
And he's Von Miller. He's 6'3", 250.
Yep.
How big was Jerome Bettis?
About the same. I think he came out at 250, 248, something like that.
But like 5'11", 6 foot?
Yeah.
Because wasn't he a lot? I mean, he was a lot thicker than Derrick Henry.
Whoa.
There we go.
I think those two running backs like carry their weight differently. Everybody does.
Yeah.
And like Jerome Bettis just had like this center that was like a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Can those running backs, like a Jerome Bettis type, still succeed in today's NFL?
You know, I thought about that like when we're making that comp. Like it's a very different NFL than the one Jerome Bettis played in. But, you know, there's always things that kind of turn the tide back or, you know, to what it used to be.
Yep.
And maybe if you get enough downhill runners where now linebackers got to beef up a little bit more. Now you got to have a true safety, like a 220-pound safety to come in and fill the box. Maybe it can change things around. You never know. But it is definitely a different NFL, a lot more spread. But at the same time, if you spread everybody out and you have this big old power back come in and everybody's trying to tackle him, it's going to be tough too.
And there's like 7 defensive backs on the field.
Exactly.
Good luck tackling that sort of guy.
One comp I heard a lot for Estimate too was Marshawn Lynch. He just kind of runs angry, bigger dude. Like,
Beast mode, yeah, man, he does run angry. I can't wait to get in to Audric Estime. Probably early next week, we'll do our deep dive, our film room on him.
No, Eddie Lacy.
Yeah, not that. Jerome Bettis is 5'11", 248 at the combine. But the thing is, like,
probably more.
Yes, but when you're playing against 260-pound linebackers back in the day, it does. The math changes a little bit.
Also, my guess is the Jerome Bettis we think of with the Steelers was probably like 270.
Yeah, he probably gained weight from then. Yes.
Yeah, and 5'11".
Yeah.
Yeah, that is just what he didn't look as jacked as Estime did.
No,
I don't think.
No.
Carries that weight differently.
Yes, exactly. Got to give a shout out to our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing, where they've been part of the DNVR family for a long time. So if you need a new roof, we've given them our stamp of approval. We trust them, so it means you can trust them as well. They're Colorado's best estimators and contractors. Free, no obligation roof and property inspections. Free in-depth photo reports for all inspections. Hail season is coming, so don't wait to take care of any issues when the storms hit. And they will give you a free upgrade to a hail impact resistant shingle, which is huge in Colorado. So if you're looking for a new roof over your home or business, make sure to call our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing and check them out over at redhawkroofing.com and make sure to tell them that DNVR sent you.
And shout out to the Pub Pass. You can download the app and use code DNVR for 50% off. You should listen up because we got a special pass through DNVR, and it's for the Pub Pass. If you love craft beer, you need the Pub Pass on your phone. We all know there is no better place in the country to be a beer lover than in Colorado, and there's no better way to be a beer lover in Colorado than with the Pub Pass app, Pub Pass. Every time I see this app, I always think of like Pup Pass, like my kids are big Paw Patrol.
Oh, I've heard of that. I haven't watched.
Not as good as the Pub Pass, but
I was gonna say, wait, Paw Patrol wouldn't be Pub Pass.
No.
right?
The Pub Pass app gets you buy one, get one $1, and even free beers at more than 300 breweries and bars in the greater Colorado area. Denver fans can get a 1-year subscription for half off using promo code DNVR. That's a year of access to the best craft beer app in the country for about $2 a month. Download the Pub Pass now in the App Store or Google Play Store and use code DNVR when you sign up.
You here, leave that QR code on the screen. Do you think my phone from here can scan the QR code?
Which one do you have?
The 14, not the 15.
No shade, but like you as a person, I would say you. Before I knew that, I would probably say you had an Android or like an iPhone 7
That's
for sure.
the biggest insult I've heard all day.
That's
People have
pretty
been
good.
crushing me for my.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is tough, Todd. No, I have an iPhone 14.
There you go.
Let's see. No.
Really?
Damn, iPhone, you let me down. Can you?
Well,
You
so
have
I have
15?
like the 15 Pro Max.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
Okay,
And so
bougie.
I know. And I've gotten it from like really far away a couple times, but like a month ago, I can't remember. I think I was trying to get a menu. I was at a restaurant with some friends, and I was like, look at this. Instead of getting the one at our table, I like went across the bar.
That's how Henry flexes.
Yeah, it didn't work though. And so then I got made fun of.
Todd,
So,
you
I don't
tried.
know.
Because this is a small QR code that we've got
Oh,
on
it
the screen
really
too
is.
right now.
Come on.
Gotta zoom in there, baby.
Come on.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Sucker.
I think the fact that it's like digitally there hurts my case.
Sure, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
hoping you do.
Also, shout out to our guy, Brian Baldinger, who was joining us according to the graphic that we had on the screen when he was with us. Switch the A and the I.
Just like the word guard. It's a tough one.
Guard?
Yeah, I got that one wrong before too.
Oh,
Same like
damn.
those vowels. The vowels are tough.
Wow, vowels are tough.
There's no
Spelling's
vowels in Spanish,
tough.
baby.
Let's put two L's together. You get the vowel.
Is there like a double innuendo with that too? Or no?
No.
No.
Unless you're a Lakers fan.
That's
Wow,
true.
that was a fun.
Okay, so let's get into some super chats. Let's hit those. Got a couple of those. And when we do, hit us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Helps us out a ton. And we can't thank you enough for the support. We're growing the family. People are excited
Yes.
with Bo Nix rocking and rolling with the Broncos. Broncos finally have hope, finally have life, finally did something that they haven't done since Paxton Lynch and drafted a quarterback in the first round. Let's just go back to like Jay Cutler. That was a better first round pick. Or Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
He was a fun first round quarterback.
T.
That's for sure. Did you ever meet Tim, Todd?
Just a handful of times.
Okay. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, just a handful of times. That's
only
pretty
a
good.
handful. Yeah.
At like Broncos events, like
Yeah, I
alumni
think-
sort of things.
Yeah, I think that's where I met him before.
Yeah. Okay, let's hop in to super chats. First one coming in from Bronx Bronco. Who just hit us with a super chat. Thank you, Bronx. If you have a
Wow.
question, make sure to drop it and you're here. We'll save it for us. Matt Fisher says you guys and Locked On Broncos are the best Broncos coverage. I'm super excited about Estime. Nix was the best quarterback in the draft, in my opinion. Well, let's go, baby. You know what? College
like it.
stats will back that up.
For sure.
4,500 passing yards, set a record of 77% completion, 45 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And the biggest knock was he didn't complete he only completed short passes, or a lot of short passes. And according to Nix, he'll say, quite frankly, I completed a lot of deep ones too. And according to the Broncos analytics, he was the best at passes that were beyond just the short passes too. So next one coming in from Stress says, anyone look at Jonah Ellis's RSA compared to Von Miller's?
All right. Yes. So sorry.
Did I say something?
No, nothing. Vaughn was 6'2.5" and 246 pounds. Jonah was 6'2" and an eighth and 248 pounds. The size is the same. You look at like the jumps, it's a 37-inch vertical for Vaughn, 38 for Ellis. The broad jump's about the same. Shuttle, Vaughn's a little better, about the same 3-cone. Difference is though, Jonah had, labrum, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Jonah had a labrum thing, and so he didn't actually do the 40, or that means you don't get the splits off the 40. He didn't do the bench press. And so a lot of it is really similar, but if he would have gone out there and run a 4.7, then all of a sudden it's not quite so similar anymore.
Because what was Vaughn?
4.53.
Woo.
Yeah,
That's wild.
he's very fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's very fast. And that's the difference between a number 2 overall pick
Yep.
and a third round. What the hell did I miss?
You just said RSA instead of RAS.
Oh, wow. I had a little brain
You
moment.
just threw a little jab in there real quick and just kept it going.
Yeah,
Make sure
I
it's
noticed that you said RAS,
Yes,
very
RAS.
particular.
Just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same page. And I don't know if there's an RSA score out there, and somebody's gonna be like, "Wait, RSA score factors in hand size?" I hadn't heard.
Yahir and I both have those moments today. Just waiting on Henry or Todd to have theirs as well.
Oh damn!
Yeah, running out of time.
Yeah, as Tim Wentz says, who needs an UDFA when we have Zac to return kicks? I just wonder what would happen if that happened to me in the NFL.
What?
Like, would I break a bone? Would I? What would happen?
I returned one kick in 8th grade, and I cracked ribs.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a short kick. I wasn't meant to be returning. Cracked some ribs.
Dang.
Didn't miss a game though.
Wow.
It's my one claim
Real
of fame.
trooper.
Yeah.
Was it like the last
Yeah.
game of the season? Is that why you
No,
didn't miss
it
a
was
game?
not. There were plenty of games left.
Damn.
Yeah, no. So, but that's what
Exactly.
happened against like 8th graders up in Montana. So,
Wow.
you against NFL players, who knows?
I know. Yeah. The
I
one
mean, we all
time,
know.
one time I returned to punt, in high school, I freaked out and should have fair caught it. Did not fair catch it because it was my only opportunity, and it was a high punt. I caught it and was blown up right away. And that was, I think that was JV. High school football. So yeah, I don't
I'm
wanna know
just
what
imagining you
happened in
just
the
like
NFL.
screaming while you're running.
Oh, I did not get to run with the ball. I did not get to run with the ball. Ivan closing us out says, "Great show, guys. Thank you, Ivan, for rock and roll with us. Thank you for KW, Jose, TB007, Tim Wentz, Matthew Morgan, and everyone else that rock and rolled with us on the Toyota, in the Toyota Lounge." Quick programming note, today or tomorrow, we will be doing our normal show. Friday, we've got our golf tournament here with DNVR, so we're going to be taking Friday off, but we're recording a couple of cool interviews, so stay tuned for the following week when we're going to be dropping those. Thank you all so much for rock and rolling with us. We will see you tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.